Hi everyone, I'm Ali GREYMOND. Today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that comes up a lot, and I find that it's important to mention here also is your doctor too nice? And I'm sure you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Is if a doctor is not really a specialist in OCD recovery, the specialists in OCD recovery don't do this. I know they're not too nice, but I know this from experience of having clients who have gone to some of them. That's not even remotely who I'm talking about. I'm talking about more just your average like therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist. You know. That doesn't have a lot of experience really in OCD. They don't specialize in OCD. What they usually do is they kind of allow the client to fall down in a sense, so and partially that's because you don't see them very often. But what I see a lot is that the person the therapist will say, it's okay, it's very hard. Maybe maybe you need to take more medication, or maybe, you can't work right now, or maybe you shouldn't go to school right now, and there are situations where all of that is warranted, um, but for the most part it's not, you know, and they are, I find, way too quick to say, well, if this is too difficult, okay, maybe you can just do that compulsion. And again, in some situations that is warranted, but in most it's not. And it's too like that kind of exposure is given up on way too easily, so I find that to be often the case. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up here is that if you are in that situation where you have a doctor, a therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, that's really nice, and really they seem really understanding, but you're not actually seeing a lot of results, is probably because they're not pushing on you to do enough recovery work in order to actually switch how your brain is viewing the situation. So for your brain to change, you need to be all day basically doing recovery work. And I understand that if you're coming from a position of, extreme anxiety, it's 5% a day is maybe all that you can do. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about with 5% a day, please watch the previous video. But every day there needs to be progression. So even if you're doing the very, very minimum, there has to be a progression with each day doing more, right? So 5%, and the next day you're now built yourself up to 10% and 15% and so on, But if you feel like you're going down fast, and your therapist is saying, oh, it's okay, you have to understand that it's because of their lack of experience, and it's actually not okay. You need to really start monitoring how much exposures or how much reassurance you're doing, how much compulsions you're doing, and monitoring the exposures so you are getting on the right track. At the end of the day, the only person who's responsible for your recovery is you, and the only person who's going to be suffering with it if you don't fix it is also you. So no matter what they say, in the sessions and all of this kind of stuff, between those visits you have a lot of time to either get better or get worse. And if it's not stressed to you, there, I'm stressing it to you over here, that if you're not moving forward, you're moving back. So if it's okay if you're moving forward slowly, but there is still progression forward. Otherwise, you're just going to start to fall back and things are going to get bad. And OCD is the type of thing that if you don't work on it over time, it takes more and more of your life out of your life. For a person, they're functioning, they're okay, they might have, a few compulsions, but they're not working on it because maybe they're doing talk therapy, or hypnosis, or some other nonsense with their therapist, and they're going down, they're getting worse. So now the compulsions spread. They start to become more and more and more in different areas of their life. The person can no longer work. The marriage or relationships or family life starts to fall apart. They start to be isolated from their friends. It starts to take over, So no matter what stage you are in right now, if you're in that very bad stage and you can only do 5%, or maybe you're in not so bad stage and you're listening to it, while you're still functioning, while you're still working, you're still going to school, being productive, like doing everyday life stuff. Don't let yourself get any worse than where you already are, and start to really push yourself each day. Even if nobody else is pushing you, you push you. And the more you push yourself, I promise you, honestly, you will see progress. Realistically, you can do this yourself, but you just need to be always pushing yourself. You know, if your therapist says, "Oh, well, okay, maybe blah blah blah, you had a hard day is okay. Hard Everybody has hard days, where they take a step back. That's I don't have a problem with that. But if you had a hard month, you got to get it together. You got to start really doing the work. You got to make a plan and stick with the plan and refuse compulsions and start to do at least the 5%, every day moving forward, and really building on the success. Even if it's minute success, just build on it. I promise you, it will be 5%, and in 20 days, you'll be at zero compulsions. Just going by 5% more each day, in 20 days you'll be down to zero. you know it's little efforts. A lot of the times when people are in a really bad state, um they feel like it's all or nothing, and I would love for the client to just completely stop all compulsions in one day, but it's pretty much impossible. You can only do so much, considering that just a short while ago you were doing all the compulsions or all the analyzing or checking or asking or whatever. you know so do something and make the recovery urgent. You know how OCD makes doing a compulsion urgent? You need to make the recovery urgent, even if nobody around you is telling you that it's urgent. Believe me, it is urgent, and your whole, everything in your life really depends on your recovery. you know So it's about just making it a priority and pushing through every single day. That's how I recovered. That's how my clients recover. If you just look through the comments, people, just do the recovery program with watching these videos every day, and they're in the process of recovery, you know, having success and getting to further and further stages. I'm sure once they do recover, they're probably not watching these videos, but as they're going through it, they're having progress. And actually, if you are having progress, please post in the comments below so you can show that to people who are just starting out, because it's so important to see, not just, oh, Ali said, but that, like, this actually works. I've had success. I've had success. I've had success. So, the person seeing those comments can say, "Oh, okay, well, if they're doing it, why can't I do it?" And then just pushing forward and just, I'm never going to be tired of saying it. 5% each day. In 20 days, you're down to zero. And then it'll take a while for your mind to normalize and to stop sending the thoughts and all of that. So you still will have thoughts even after you're down to zero for a little while, maybe, like, depending on your situation, maybe a month or two of still getting the thoughts, but it will normalize. And but you have to stop taking steps back so you're not confusing your mind further with doing compulsions. I hope you find these videos helpful. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please subscribe. I do daily videos on various aspects of OCD recovery. I also do Q&A. About once a week I try to do it. I'm going to do it in a few days, actually. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to do the recovery program, all the information is, as always, on youhaveocd.com. I'll see you tomorrow.